Powerful being, listen to me. You don't have to build no more walls because it's blocking everything from coming in. I'm talking about the good health, the good energy, the love, the peace. When you block anger, when you block things that you don't want in your life, thinking that it'll save you and secure you, you actually block things you do want. So whenever you decide that, hey, I'm going to stop feeling the world or stop engaging in the world stops engaging with you. So you also have to understand that it's not really walls that help us as much as bridges, right? As much as boundaries. So there's a difference between building a wall and building a boundary. When you think about a country, some people like Trump try to build a wall to block everybody from coming in, but then also that stops people from going out. But then that also stops the flow of goods and services. So when you build a wall, man, you're not only blocking things from coming in, you're blocking things from going out, and you're blocking good and bad things from coming in. Right now, we're in a bad situation here with the world. Here's what's happening: animals can't move freely, and because of that, they're kind of dying because there's borders everywhere. We're building roads, and they just can't navigate, so they can't migrate. The same thing with us. We can't migrate emotionally, we can't migrate spiritually if we build walls, because every time that we're trying to go to another state, we'll be blocked by the wall we set. Okay, let me rewind that. Every time we try to go to another state of being, the same wall you built blocks you from going there. Just like those animals who want to travel, but there's things on the way. So he said, but I only built the wall to protect myself. Yeah, just because you build a wall to protect yourself doesn't mean you're going to trade is going to keep going on. So to trade, which is to be part of life, to have an exchange with life, you kind of have to leave your walls down while having boundaries and also having signs up. So now here's the thing. You don't always have to put up a wall to put up a boundary or a security. You just have to put up what it is, a standard. And that's what I mean by putting up a sign. You know how somebody says, do I have a sign in my forehead that says use me? You're like, no, I don't. I don't have that sign. Why you doing it then? Well, guess what? If you have no sign, then it's a sign. So what does that mean? So you kind of have to walk around with your standards on your forehead written down. Now you're like, what do you mean by that? Your very life energy has to be in a certain way where your standards are apparent. Just when you walk. Before you even communicate to somebody, before you enter my house, be conscious of these standards. They already know it because they can see your temple. So what I'm saying is this. Walls block both the flow in and out. It blocks the flow of commerce. If you want to exchange with the world, if you don't participate in the good stuff, you got to also be willing to endure some of the negative emotions or the limiting ones, or some of the things that may strike your ego or something like that. So here's why. Because life is not just black or white. It's not just hot or cold. It's a mixture. It's not just good and bad. It's a mixture. And it is that intertwining of those two things that causes you to appreciate both sides. So you might have certain people that, you don't want them. Like, for instance, this is what I mean. Let's say the wall they're building for Mexico, right? You're like, if you block out people who are so-called, okay, I'm going to say this. Listen, this is not true. This is not true, by the way. This is what is being portrayed. It's not what I believe. If somebody says, well, they're only rapists, murderers, and drug dealers, that's what they've been saying. I'm not saying this is not what it is. And then guess what you're also blocking? You're blocking entrepreneurs, hard workers, and people who actually come to this country and help us do the things that we don't even want to do. The people who put in the work, the people who build the foundation of the country. So somebody says, well, we're blocking them because they're coming in, they're using our resources, they're doing this, they're doing that, and we're going to just keep them out of our country. But while you're keeping them out of your country, you're also affecting your country in a negative way. And it's all because of you had a perceived idea of what you believe is to be true, which is not even true. The perception is based on a limiting way of seeing people based on what you just came up with. So I'm saying this, that it is not true that, Mexicans are coming in to do this bad stuff. That's not necessarily true. Is it the case in some? Of course. When we could change the way we look at things, what we will look at will start changing. So why you might see, oh, okay, let me build a wall. This is how most people are closed off to the world. They don't feel. So they never get the chance to heal. And this is what I mean. I walk around, I build a wall, and I call it my persona. I say, this is my personality. And you're like, okay, oh man, this is my personality. No, boo-boo. That's been your personal reality, and now you're thinking it's your personality. I got this from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Make sure y'all go check out his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I have a book review on that. It's pretty dope. So here's what I'm saying. The moment we start to look at things a certain way and we convince ourselves that this is the way it is, we make that a box and we build up a wall to stay in that box. We build up 4 walls to stay in the box of our beliefs. Okay, let me repeat that again. We build up 4 walls to stay in the box of our beliefs. If you are watching this, share this video, share this podcast to 5 friends and comment done. Share this podcast to 5 friends and comment done. Okay, I'm about to go in. All right. Share this podcast to 5 friends and comment done. Let me pin that. I'm gonna send it out too. So here's what I'm saying. The walls we build to protect a belief, not necessarily ourselves or a vision of ourselves, usually limit us from expanding outside of ourselves. So you know how somebody says this. You say, hey, you want to try this? Nah. I that's just not me. But you never tried it. It's not you. No, it's just not me. That's not me. Who are you? No, that's just not me. That's because your identity is now ruling that decision. Now, who is you making that decision? Is it really you? Well, that's just not me. I just don't do that. No, you're building a wall so you could be comfortable in your identity. Now somebody says, well, that's not true. Well, until we first recognize it, nothing can shift. Okay, how about this? You say, well, somebody says, start being vegetarian. You're like, well, I just can't eat vegetables. I'm not the type of person that likes vegetables. I just don't do that. Oh yeah? Just like you just don't do that, did you know you can start doing it? So we try to protect, let's say we gain a little bit extra weight. Not saying there's anything that determines your value. You just say, I gain a little extra weight. But then you say, well, this is just how I am. I can't change it. I've been like this all my life. And then we try to protect ourselves from anything that relates to, hey, maybe you could evolve a little bit. You're like, nah, this is just me, man. I just can't. What you done is you set a limitation for yourself. And you set 4 walls limiting you, containing you in your comfort zone. And I'm telling you, if you want to be uncomfortable, if you want to get to the space where you're bothered to be at right now, sometimes we're just bothered. We're just like, man, I should be here. I should be there. I do that all over. Should be all over yourself. You shouldn't you, because you're bothered. I know how it feels. I'd be bothered sometimes. I don't know about you. I'd be bothered. But then I realized, like, yo, instead of staying here being bothered and looking at these 4 walls, why don't I start either breaking them down? Now somebody want to know, like, yo, how do I break down the walls? Like, what's this big machine that has this big ball that's going to come down and boom, break down all the walls? Well, it's not one ball. It's a couple of, it's like punches of changing your mindset every day. So what I'm saying is this. To break down the walls of your limiting mindset, you got to build yourself up. It's either you get taller to see over the wall, you get stronger to climb the wall, or you get more spiritual to see through it. Okay. It's either you get taller to climb the wall, and all of these go together. You get stronger to push through the wall, and you get spiritually to see through it. But I mean, first you have to be able to see through whatever you've set up for yourself. That's when you can say, hey, this is the limitation I've set up. This is really what it is. You have self-awareness of, yo, these are my limitations. As soon as you have self-awareness that, oh, this is limitations I set for me, then you could transcend them. You can say, well, I believe that this is it. But now that I look at it, it's not really it. So you're saying, what are the 4 walls? You said, well, I've been thinking that I'm stuck to this situation, but I really figured out I'm not stuck here. So now you what you're doing is you're breaking down the wall. So a couple of ways to break down the wall is break down automatic negative thoughts and build up empowering thoughts that has a promised future that is attractive. Automatic negative thoughts are the things that almost come up simultaneously with all the limiting emotions you experience. It's just like, you suck, you dumb, look at you, how long have you been doing this, when will you learn your lesson, when will you finally learn? All these thoughts come up. Now, if you can dismantle those, if those thoughts are not something you have to deal with constantly, you will be able to build up much quicker because you're not being teared down every single day by yourself. So what I'm saying is this: you can begin to learn that when you start to observe, you can see through, you're going to say, hey, this is not true. And then you're going to say, then this is what's the truth. This is, first, you have to question what you think is true. You have to dismantle it if it's not, and then see the truth. You're like, well, it sounds better. It sounds easier than done. I'm going to tell you this. Everything I say might sound easier than done, of course. But if you've done it consistently, it'll be an easy doing every day. And you start to break down the walls of your limitations. So somebody says, well, I have a big wall that's blocked. It's called, I don't want to be vulnerable in no aspect whatsoever. So I build a wall so nobody can ever come in, because I realize that if I'm vulnerable, then that might be to my demise. Now, here's what happens. Vulnerability can either lead to freedom or manipulation. Both of them leads to freedom, but as soon as you give the other person your dictation of whether you're free or not, then they're allowed to manipulate you. But whenever you are vulnerable, you are freeing yourself. As soon as you let that freedom in somebody else's hand, they could determine what's next. But as soon as you say, hey, my vulnerability is my strength and not my weakness, and that in my own very nature, I walk around with a sign in my forehead, my aura, saying, hey, these are my standards, and with those standards, I won't even have to deal with certain people I can't be vulnerable around with. So then I will create a certain standard within me so that I can deal with the type of people that does not take my vulnerability and turn it against me in a way. Because guess why we build walls? We tried something and it didn't go as we planned. So we got hurt. We tried something, it didn't go as we planned, and we got hurt again. We tried something, we got hurt. It didn't go as we planned, we got hurt. So now what we say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of being hurt. What I'll do is I'll make sure I put up a wall so nothing comes in, so I don't get hurt. And then now you're in the house and you're like, dang, I'm lonely now. I feel so much stuff inside. I can't share nothing with nobody. I got complete trust issues. I can't trust nobody, and I just don't feel good now. That's because the same wall you then now created to protect yourself is now becoming your 4 walls of slavery. You became enslaved by your own way of trying to protect yourself. So somebody says, why should I go to the jungle of life again if it's safe in here? I want to ask you, do you want safety, security only, or do you want freedom and vitality? Somebody says, I want safety and security and freedom and vitality. But the only way for you to get that, all 4, is for you to expose yourself to the elements. You have to expose yourself to the world. Somebody mean like, bruh, I don't want to expose myself to those types of people. No, you don't have to expose yourself to those types of people, but you got to live. You have to be willing to love. Like, to share your truth is to risk being misunderstood. To share your ideas is to risk it being stolen. To express yourself is to risk yourself being judged. To love is to risk being hurt. To run a business is to risk the possible of failing. So no matter what you do, there's some risk involved. But it's that risk that yields a reward. So I'm not saying for you to go out there and repeat the same things that happen and let anything come into your life, but I'm saying this. What if instead of building walls, we learn how to build bridges and signs? Somebody want to know, what are bridges and signs? Well, I like to say this. Bridges allow you to go from one place to another, one state to another, one location to another. It is a way of traveling. So because of that, I say, it's like a way of transmutation. Because stagnation is the same place, not moving anywhere. Transmutation and transportation is you getting on the road, a better mindset, a different road, a different vision, a different decisions, and you walk that way. And you're like, hey, you know what? Okay, I'll keep walking this path. So what I'm saying is we can start to build bridges and signs. Bridges says this: I'm not necessarily going to build a wall to defend myself, but I'm going to build a bridge that I can transmute from one state to another. I can move in life. I could experience different experiences. You know what I mean? But as I get there, I'm going to have I'll have signs. I'll have things I put up that I let people know about what I stand for. And those signs will not just be things I say, it will be how I am, my very essence. You want your aura to become your aura should be your shield. Your aura should be your shield and not your trauma. Once your aura becomes your shield and not your trauma, you're operating out of consciousness and not out of pain. When your aura becomes your protection, your shield, and your trauma don't become walls, you are building a better form of communication. And this is what I mean. When you elevate your spirit to your very spirit, attracts what you want into your life and deters what doesn't belong in it, you no longer have to forcefully move in life. Grand rising, queen. You become a moving force. When we forcefully move in life, we always have to fight. There's tension everywhere. We're forcefully moving. But when we're moving with force, it is a different sort of movement. You know this person is going somewhere. You don't know why. You're like, this person is going somewhere. Why? Because this person's very aura says this. So when you walk into people's lives, they can walk out faster than you tell them to leave. And if you walk into the right person's life, they will hang out with you longer and you will never have to tell them to leave because you're going to walk in a different passion, different way. So when you change what you accept for your own energy, when you say, I no longer encourage anger, resentment, shame, blame, guilt within me every single day, you transmute your state. You learn how to bridge your emotional state. You start to become the attraction of those same energies back to you. Whatever vibes attracts, you've heard of that before, right? Yes, of course. So basically this, I'm saying bridges are every day you learn how to bridge the experiences you encounter. You don't store them as memory bases to become walls, but as lessons so that you can navigate better through the maze. Now, I know I'd be doing that. I just be, there's a whole okay, whatever. Here's what I'm saying in layman terms. What I'm saying is this. If every day you could notice what's happening within you, and you could transform what's happening within you because the power is within you, guess what? You will stop accepting certain things from others because you will elevate your spirit to a point where you know what's right and what's not right. So now you have a filter rather than a bridge, rather than a wall. A wall blocks everything. A filter opens a pathway for the right thing. Your aura can be a filter. Once you have a wall up, it's not a filter. What happens is it blocks everything from coming in. That's called the numbness. And we don't want that. Apathy and numbness does not serve us too well. Because then nothing comes in. You're like, blah. And this is no way to live. Guess what? Sometimes through the same filters you build, some dirt will creep in. But guess what? That's building your immune system. When the dirt creeps in your life, what it's doing is building your resilience to shit. To the stuff that might happen. That's the stuff that happens. Now, more dirt happens to different people. But some people, they don't even have a filter or a wall or a bridge or a sign. They're just right here. So everything just hits them right in the face and they don't know what's hitting them. And that is a big issue. So what I say is this. Be careful of the walls you're building. The conclusions you came up to. Conclusions are when you make a lifelong decision based on one occurrence that's been reaffirmed by a similar occurrence. And that keeps replaying a tape in your mind. And whenever you get in that situation again, you're all discombobulated. And you lose yourself again. That's a concussion. Every time we judge what will be in the future for us based on what was on the past, we're living based on the past. And what we're doing is basically we're creating our future based on the past. So what was then will only happen again. And then the whole cycle keeps going. And nowhere you get nowhere. So you're like, oh, cool. I can't get nowhere if I do that. So what can you possibly do? Okay. Consciously, like, your brain filters some stuff out from the subconscious. It's going to do stuff for you automatic. For instance, right now you're watching this, your brain is focusing on what's happening and it's building a storyline around what's I'm communicating about what's happening, boom, boom, boom. And there's some stuff right now that's not coming to your senses. You're just not getting it because your focus is here. The reticular activating system of your brain, what it's doing is directing you towards this. What's going on, bro? So what I'm saying is, oh, shoot. When you start to, those signs, the energy are like those filters that you don't have to consciously work through. You walk somewhere, you just know this person's energy. You like, that's the best. When you just know, man, I know this. I know this energy. Filter. Let me feel. But sometimes you say you know the energy, but you're not really intuitive with it. You're just basing it on past. But it's interesting. It's interesting. All you can do is work on yourself, and then you'll be able to bridge. You'll be able to turn what happened in the past as lessons, and you'll be able to use those to filter out, what's best for you or what's not. It's conscious living. Conscious living rather than subconscious reliving. Let me end it here. You could consciously live, or you could subconsciously relive the past experiences again. When you consciously live, you're saying, hey, I have the opportunity to create my own life, my own path, and that's what I'm going to do. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has completed the podcast for today. I appreciate y'all for tapping into Ed Talks Daily. Once again, this is a podcast, so you could tap in every single day at 10 a.m. here on TikTok, Instagram. But if you want to listen to the replays, go to edtalksdaily.com. Or text me, okay? Text Ed Talks to 561-510-9605. If you do that, you're going to get text messages about the podcast when I drop new episodes. So text Ed Talks to 561-510-9605. And one more announcement, y'all. Every Friday and Monday, I have a daily podcast. I have a daily Monday through Friday, I have a daily Rising Prime session, okay? But on Monday and Friday, you could join for free. So Rising Prime is how you get your day effective. Movement, breathing, personal development, mental health check-in. Rising Prime available tomorrow for free by going to risingprime.co. Okay, so once you go to risingprime.co, you'll be able to tap into the rising routine. Okay? Go to riseinprime.co and you'll be able to tap into the daily rising routine I have to get your day jump started. Like I said, that cultivation of your aura has to do with meditation. That cultivation of your aura has to do with how you feed your mind. That conversation, that it has to also do with how you interact with others. So once your aura becomes the boundary that's set, you automatically block people, things, situations out of your life without having to say or do nothing. It's amazing. So you can, but a lot of times our aura is like, yo, I feel it. You gotta listen to that aura, baby. So Rising Prime helps you cultivate that energy. That is through self-education, self-mastery, breathing, checking in on yourself, knowing what's happening within you, then that's the only way you could transmute it. Okay, so once again, I just dropped it right now. Go to risingprime.co to try Rising Prime. You won't regret it. Tomorrow the class is free. You can tap in, and I'll see you there, man. See you there, ladies. I see May, you want to tap into it. I think I had DM'd you the information already. So check it out. I'd love to see you tomorrow. Go to risingprime.co. Put www in front of it. With that being said, thank y'all for watching, for listening. Remember to leave a subscribe for the podcast. Leave a review if it has empowered you, has helped you out in any fashion. And once you do that, you'll be it will help a whole lot. Oh, okay, yeah. So text me, May. Text Ed Talks to 561. Plus, you're gonna get a whole lot more by texting this number, because you get to get the inspirational messages. So that's the number right there. Text this number 561, y'all. 510-9605. If this added value to you and you want to keep tapping in, you want to get at my text messaging list, which is just a way for you to get daily messages from me, just text this number. Text Ed Talks, okay, 561-510-9605. Only for people who are in the States, I believe. Alright, I'll be waiting for your text. Text Ed Talks to 561-510-9605. Alright, I want to remind y'all that you got the unlimited power to take control of your life, to not build walls but bridges, to let your very aura be the boundary or the shield for you. That when you walk around, certain energies won't even come in because you are not attracting the energy. When you build your karma will attract the positive things. Karma is it's not a bad thing. It's what you put out that you get in. So what you say is, as you cultivate your energy a certain way. But here's what happened. Shit's still gonna happen. Shit gonna hit the fan. You heard of that before? Yep, that's gonna happen. So what I'm saying is this: you don't build walls because shit is going to happen. You learn how to build bridges to transform the shit. You get what I'm saying? And those bridges allow you go from one state to another, because you learn the tools of how to build that bridge. You learn how to breathe, you learn how to move, you learn how to meditate, you learn how to sit within you, how to allow thoughts to flow in and out. And then now those bridges bridge in the energy states. And as you build more bridge, you start to create a sign. I say this sign is like you hold up to the world what your values are by how you walk around, by what you say. People know without knowing. And in a certain way, you start avoiding shit without having to say anything. And I mean, sometimes when you grow to a certain level, you're going to grow out of people's lives who are not in that certain level, either mentally, spiritually. By the way, if y'all tapping in, make sure y'all text that number. Because what happens is people can't stick around a certain energy that they're not, that is either opposing if it's two polar energies, it feels like a tug. The vibration does not sit right. So the best thing you could do to protect yourself is build your vibration, because then you have a aura shield and not a wall. Because the same wall that blocks contentment the same wall that blocks pain blocks contentment and happiness. Because the energies that pain feels like is intense. The intensity of energy is experienced in both the downs and the lows and the highs. If you're really in pain, you're going to feel an intense energy. If you really enjoy it, it's an intense energy. And you want to dictate, what's the difference? If it's still an intense energy, staying away from all intensity is not going to take away all of it. So you have to understand, since you have that power within you, you build your own power plant so you could transmute shit into electricity to keep you going. And then when you can do that, life transform for you. But anyways, y'all stay blessed, stay in your power. Remember, you have the unlimited power in you to tap into that. And until that happens, the world will forever miss all your gifts, all your talents, and all the great things that you have to offer. So remember, ladies and gents, let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. It is in you to transform your mentality. As soon as you build bridges from one emotional state to another, that will build up a sign through your aura that will then automatically filter out the things, people, situations, and things that happen in your life. With that being said, stay blessed, stay in your power. Peace and love to y'all. Text me, EdTalks, 561-510-9605. Peace, young God. Good to see you. Thank you for tapping in. I am gone. EdTalksDaily.com if you want to listen. Stay blessed, y'all. I'm out. I am out. I can talk for a while, But, y'all tap in, though. Go to EdTalksDaily.com. Before I go, man, let me plug y'all in right quick. Listen, not only do I need y'all to subscribe to this, I need a review, man. And you're like, man, hey, I haven't listened to your podcast. You lying. You just did. You just did. That is the podcast right here. So you go to edtalksdaily.com/reviews. Shameless plug. And leave a boy a review. All right. Peace. Leave your boy a review.